Welcome back to the Brew Sportscast. Where this is the fantasy portion. We're going to be doing the Week 8 preview, uh, and this is episode 20.
Week 8 preview and week 7
Review.
review.
So, anyways, this like I said, this is our fantasy portion. So, first thing we're going to do is review our Week 7 picks of the fantasy players we picked for our Trust, Bust, and Thrust, and see what we did and if
How
y'all
we
should
did.
continue to listen to us.
Yeah.
All right. So week 7, we'll start with the quarterbacks. So I had, as my trust, I had Joe Burrow versus Atlanta, and he put up 39.24 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
As my bust, I had Aaron Rodgers versus Washington, and he put up 15.7, so we count that as a bust. That is not Aaron Rodgers.
For quarterbacks, anything over 18 and up isn't considered a bust.
Yeah, actually, we can talk about that real quick.
Okay.
So we went through and decided, like, for each position, what we think is a good number for, like, whether or not it's a good, like, trust or thrust number. And so the numbers we came up with is for quarterbacks, we like to see at least 18, running backs at least 12, wide receivers at least 15, and tight ends at least 10.
That's solid. If any of you guys,
Yeah.
aka Sam, have any complaints, just let us know.
Yep. All right. So, yeah. My thrust was Marcus Mariota versus Cincinnati, and he only got 12 points. So I got that one wrong.
Okay.
So for the quarterback category, I got 2 out of the 3 correct.
Who was your bust? You didn't.
Aaron Rodgers. 15.7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got 2 out of 3 right?
Yep.
Lucky you. For my quarterbacks last week, I had Aaron Rodgers as my trust. Stupid. He got 15 points. My bust was Jimmy Garoppolo, who got 16. So, I mean, would you?
Yeah, that would be a bust.
I guess you could say that's a bust, yeah. And then Daniel Jones was my thrust at 28.
Nice.
Yeah. So if you want to say,
I mean, that's not nice because he played the Jags, but still.
I know. But with Jimmy G being a bust at 16 and Daniel Jones being a thrust at 28, I think I got 2 out of 3 correct there.
All right, moving on to running backs. So for my trust last week, I had Kenneth Walker versus the Chargers, and he got 28.8. Solid numbers.
Mm-hmm.
My bust, I had James Robinson versus the Giants, and he got 0.
Obviously.
And then my thrust, I had Brian Robinson versus Green Bay, and he only got 10 points, so I got that one wrong. So still out of the category, I got 2 out of 3 correct.
Nice. All right, my running backs last week, my trust was Saquon Barkley against the Jags. He got 17. My bust was Christian McCaffrey against Tampa Bay. He got 8. So that's pretty good. I mean, as a bust. And my thrust was Dameon Pierce against Vegas. He got 15.7 points.
Okay.
So I got all 3 of those correct.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the wide receivers. My trust, I had Tyreek Hill versus Pittsburgh, and he put up 14.2. So got that one wrong.
Oh, man.
Yeah. My bust, I had DJ Moore against Tampa Bay, and I got that wrong because he ended up putting up 19.6 points.
Dang.
And then finally, my thrust, I had Juju Smith-Schuster against San Francisco, and I got that right. He put up 25.4. So out of that category, I got 2 out of the 3 wrong.
It was, man. You're leading these people wrong. We're here to help.
Yeah, let's see what you do.
All right. My wide receivers, my trust was Jamar Chase with 33 points. My bust was DJ Moore with 19. And my thrust was George Pickens against Miami with 18.1. So I got 2 out of 3 correct there.
Nice. All right, moving on to tight ends. My trust, I had Zach Ertz versus New Orleans. Unfortunately, he only put up 6 points last week. Didn't expect that.
I told you that last week.
Because D-Hop was back, and D-Hop was getting all of the targets.
I told you.
My bust was Hayden Hurst versus Atlanta, and he actually ended up getting 10.8, so that's not a bust for a tight end.
Damn, 5.8.
And then my thrust was George Kittle versus Kansas City, and he ended up putting up 21.8. So I got 2 out of 3 wrong on tight ends as well.
That Come on, man.
Yeah.
Don't listen to this guy.
Whatever.
All right, my tight ends last week, my trust was Travis Kelce with 15.8. Yeah. My bust was David Njoku against Baltimore, who got 14. Didn't see that coming. And my thrust, you looked at me weird for this, but my thrust was Robert Tonyan against Washington, 6.2. So I got 2 out of the 3
Oh, come on,
wrong.
man. You're leading these guys astray.
Yeah, I got 2 out of the 3 wrong. I guess it is level 5. Yeah.
All right. So, this one.
You're looking at wide receivers?
Yeah, I'm wondering if it should be like more like 13.
13?
I guess it is PPR, huh?
It is. Well, most leagues nowadays are PPR.
Right. So you want the receivers
Most
to be
some
higher.
receivers get 9,
Yeah.
at least 9
so
targets.
you want them to be higher than the running backs. All right, then we'll leave it at 15.
Yeah.
We'll just have to cater when we're making our picks to that point system and don't pick nobody that's averaging 12 points as a receiver.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to week 8. So we're going to pick our trust bust thrust going into week 8. So y'all know.
What about the new category we're doing?
We'll do that after. All right.
You fool. Don't look at my paper.
All right. I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
Calm down.
Okay.
All right.
I'm
so
excited.
Quarterbacks, the quarterback category. My trust, I have Jalen Hurts versus Pittsburgh. He only put up 16.9 points last week, but I think that's going to be a turnaround this week because Pittsburgh, they allow the 9th most points per game to quarterbacks.
Okay.
So I think Jalen Hurts is going to be back in the trust seat. My bust is Tom Brady versus Baltimore. Last week he put up 11.7, and I don't see him doing much better against Baltimore. My thrust is Daniel Jones versus Seattle. Daniel Jones put up 28 points against Jacksonville. I think Seattle, that's going to be a great game, and I think both of those quarterbacks are going to do really well.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I messed up and didn't put my players' opponents, so we'll just see how
All right.
knowledgeable
I can
am.
figure it out, I'm sure, looking at the schedule.
Yeah. My trust this week, obviously, is Lamar Jackson against Tampa. I feel like he's going to run and throw for a good amount of fantasy points. My bust is your bust, Tom Brady. You know, my thrust is Trevor Lawrence. He's had a solid 2 straight weeks. I feel like that's going to continue this week against I wouldn't say horrible defense, but a bad defense. And a solid, what do we say? What's the fantasy points?
18.
18. A solid 20 points, possibly.
Okay, I hope so.
Now, Trevor Lawrence is a thrust if you don't have anybody, like on a bye week or something like that. Throw him up there.
So I definitely agree with Lamar Jackson, but not as much as my trust. So for my league, where I got Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts on the same team.
Yes.
For the first time in a long time, I'm actually starting Jalen Hurts over Lamar Jackson this week.
Who's Jalen playing? Pitt? Oh, yeah.
But, all right, moving on to running backs.
Oh, I will mention this. Was Jalen on a bye last week?
Yeah.
Teams that come off a bye are less than 50% chance to have a less than 50% chance to win their next game. I saw that on ESPN today.
Nice.
So, just throwing that out there. Yeah. All right, running backs.
Running backs. All right, my trust for running backs is Derrick Henry versus Houston. Last week he put up 16.8 points. Houston is not the greatest defense, not the greatest team.
They held us to 6 points.
Yeah, that was the first game of this. Or no, wait, that was the last.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I think Derrick Henry's going to run all over them. My bust this week is Eno Benjamin versus Minnesota. Last week he put up 23.3.
Against who is he playing? Who is he?
Eno Benjamin?
Yeah.
The Cardinals. He's been their primary back the last couple weeks.
I thought Connor was there.
Connor's been hurt.
Oh, okay.
So Eno Benjamin's been stepping up. But Connor is back this week. And even if he's not 100% and is not going to be, Connor is still supposed to be, if he is back, the primary running back. So I think Eno is still going to get some work, but not enough to warrant the big fantasy numbers he's been putting up. And, I almost put Miles Sanders. That's an interesting note versus Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh allows the 7th lowest yards to running backs.
Okay.
So if I get this wrong, we'll just pretend that I went with Miles Sanders. I scratched that out last minute and put Benjamin. My thrust this week is Michael Carter versus New England. Last week he got 9.4 points. He's going to be the primary back. I think this is going to be. They're definitely going to be relying on their running backs. The way that New England plays and all, it's not going to be. I don't think a big high scoring shootout air it out game.
Yeah.
So, which is weird because Michael Carter, I said, is one of the reasons why I think New England's going to win, because he's not as good as Breece Hall, but I think he'll do good enough to put up starting running back numbers.
We'll see. All right, my running backs, my trust is Travis Etienne.
Nice.
Since he's the solid number one here in Jacksonville, he's a solid start. I don't know how many fantasy points he got last week, but he scored a touchdown and over 100 yards. Yeah. So he's a solid starter. My bust is Najee Harris. Who does Pitt play?
Pitt plays Philly.
Philly, yeah. Harris isn't going to have a good game at all against Philly's defense. And my thrust is Raheem Mostert. And Miami is playing. Who's Miami playing?
Miami is playing.
We didn't write that down.
No, we didn't. We didn't do that game.
Oh, I think Raheem Mostert is playing somebody where he's capable of being.
Etienne put up 18 points last week.
Well, Raheem Mostert is capable of being a thrust if you have to throw in somebody to fill in for a bye.
This is why you write down their opponents and how many points they scored last week.
I will do that starting next week.
Raheem Mostert is playing Detroit.
Okay, yeah, Detroit.
And he put up 20 points last week.
Yep, he's a solid thrust if you have somebody going in on a bye. On the wide receivers.
All right, so my wide receivers, my trust this week is Devonta Smith. Why are you looking at my shit?
I'm not. I'm looking at the camera.
Devonta Smith versus Pittsburgh. He put up 15.4 points last week. I know that's not, or actually, no, that does make our numbers. But Pittsburgh, they allow the most yards per game. Number one, most yards per game to wide receivers. So
Pittsburgh sucks, man.
So Devonta Smith, I think, is going to keep it rolling. I know you're probably thinking why didn't you say AJ Brown? Of course, AJ Brown. I wanted to
change it up a little bit.
I wanted to say, of course, you're going to start AJ Brown, but also don't be scared to trust Devonta Smith.
Yeah.
My bust is Brandon Cooks versus Tennessee. He got 8.6 points last week, and I think they're on the verge of getting rid of his ass.
Really?
He's
their best receiver, I believe.
If he's, I guess, but if he's their best receiver, I don't know what's going on with freaking Houston's offense.
Houston.
Yeah.
It's Houston.
No, but so 8.6, they're playing Tennessee. I don't see them doing well because once again, the same reasoning for running backs doing well in the New England game. I don't see receivers doing well in the Tennessee and Houston game because it's going to be a ground battle.
Mm-hmm. Dameon Pierce versus Derrick Henry. That should be a good matchup.
And then my thrust is George Pickens versus Philly.
He was my thrust last week.
18.1 points last week. I think he's going to keep it going against Philly. Even though I know Philly has a tough defense, I think that as good as Jalen Hurts and that offense is, that they're going to be throwing a lot. And I think the same way Pittsburgh is going to have to keep airing it out to come from come from behind.
I was about to say that.
So I think George Pickens is going to have a big day.
George might get a lot of garbage points, to be honest.
Yep.
All right, my turn. My trust is Tyreek Hill. Miami, once again, is playing. We just went over this. I forget. But Detroit. They're playing Detroit. Tyreek Hill is going to have one heck of a game. And I thought about this too, writing Jalen Waddle down too for both of them. But,
Who did Miami play last week?
Pittsburgh.
And he only got 14 points.
It was his first game back.
And Pittsburgh allows the most yards per game to receivers.
All right. Tyreek Hill is going to be your trust.
I think Tyreek will be fine.
My bust, I don't know why I put this guy, but Jerry Jeudy. With the Jags defense being questionable right now, I still think Jerry Judy's going to have a tough game
Okay.
and be a bust this week.
Yep.
My thrust, I don't know where I'm coming up with these people, but Adam Thielen.
Okay.
Yeah, you haven't heard his name most this season.
He's on the verge of me starting him every week. I
Man,
have him in a league, and he's always one of those guys that I'm like, if I
he's
have a
like a
main receiver
sleeper.
out,
Yeah.
like I know I can put
Yeah.
him in and hopefully get some good points.
Arizona doesn't have the best team or best defense, I believe, but they have solid corners. Marco Wilson, as long as he doesn't throw shoes, he'll.
Hey, that was a sweet dive into the end zone
Yes, it was.
last
That
week.
was pretty cool. But I think Thielen might be a good, solid thrust this week at wide receiver.
Okay. All right, moving on to tight ends. So my trust this week is George Kittle versus the Rams. He put up 21.8 points last week, and I think with all the weapons they have, that he's going to keep it rolling. And I'm hoping Christian McCaffrey. I know he'll take some targets away, but I'm also hoping that he'll take attention away, and that will leave Kittle open more for short passes, where they'll be looking to stop McCaffrey on dump offs coming out the backfield. They'll leave Kittle open.
I hope that game's on TV. That'd be a good game
Unfortunately,
to watch.
I don't think it is. I was looking at that today because that's the one game of the week I want to watch, and it's on Fox. But at the same time on Fox is the Indy game, so I guarantee you they're going to be playing that. Nobody wants to watch it. They're playing fucking Washington. Like, I wish you could choose. Like, the stupid region stuff is dumb.
Yeah.
I wish you could like choose which game you get to watch in your region, and it doesn't go like that.
Adam's lucky; he's got Sunday ticket. He can watch 4 games at once.
Yeah, but I really wanted to see the San Fran and
Yeah.
Rams game, and I don't think we'll be able to. All right. Next up is my bust. I actually have Mark Andrews versus Tampa Bay. He put up 0.4 points last week.
You might hit that because I don't even think he's
and
playing.
He's questionable.
Yeah.
But it's a Thursday night game. I don't think he's going to be back in time.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might be a cop out putting him as a bust, but
yeah,
he hasn't been ruled out yet. So, and then my thrust is Juwan Johnson versus Las Vegas. He had 20.2 points last week. I know he hasn't done anything all season near that, and it's one of those things that most people are going to be like boom or bust, like that he had a lucky week. But I think versus Las Vegas, I think he'll at least keep it going for one more week.
Your fantasy advice is putting me to sleep, man.
As long as Andy Dalton doesn't throw any pick sixes, I think Juwan
that's almost guaranteed at least once a game. All right, my tight ends. My trust is Dallas Goedert. Philly is playing Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh is horrible. So I think Goddard's going to have a big game. My bust is Noah Fant.
Sorry to your dad.
Yeah, sorry, Dad. But my bust is Noah Fant against the Jags. I have 2 Denver players as busts this week.
That's weird because you usually put the players playing the Jags as your like thrust or trust.
Yeah, something's changed in here. You know, it's a good week.
You're actually becoming a Jags fan.
Oh wow! And my thrust is Buffalo Bills tight end Dawson Knox.
Huh. I don't think he did much of anything last week.
They're playing. I forget who they're playing, dude.
It's the Green Bay.
Oh, they're playing Green Bay. I think Knox is going to have a solid game as a thrust. And we said quarterback or tight ends what? 10? Yeah, he's going to have a 10-plus point game.
For that one, Sunday night, Aaron Rodgers versus Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I think for him to do that, your best like thing or hope is that Aaron Rodgers actually picks it up and is just going off, and him and Josh Allen are actually competing, battling it back and forth. And it's like a high scoring, like aired out game, which it should be when you think of Green Bay versus Buffalo.
Yeah.
But
I don't see that happening. Mm-hmm. I think Buffalo is going to take control from the beginning.
All right.
So we'll see.
All right. So me and him like discussed during the off week.
The off week.
Whatever, we're not airing. It's like off season, but for the week.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, we discussed throughout the week. I wanted to add like another segment in. I almost added like 2, but we'll just take it one step at a time.
Slowly.
But so this week we were trying to think of segments to add in. Ray wanted to add in a category where we rate the players based on like how sexy they are.
What?
But no. I nixed that one quickly. So we're gonna we're basically this new segment we're gonna do is called Beast of the Week. So basically, we'll each be picking one fantasy player out of any position, just overall, who we think is going to score the most fantasy points out of any position that week.
Wow.
We also have picked an alternate just in case we both pick the same first one. Then we will both refer to our alternates, and that's what we'll be competing as to see who
All right.
scores more points.
Well, since I'm beating you in every league that we're in together,
Dennis's league on second place.
okay, you're second.
And I just beat you.
Okay. Well, I'm still in more ahead of you in more than one, so you can go first with your beast of the week.
All right, so my beast of the week is Cooper Kupp versus San Francisco.
Oh wow, okay?
Cooper Kupp only put up 16.7 points last week,
It's because he sucks.
but I wrote this note down.
Oh, he wrote a note.
I think this is going to be a great game. I think this is going to be the game of the week. And San Francisco, as great as our defense is on paper, they allow 13.5 yards per catch to receivers and more than 33 points per game to the receiving core,
Okay.
which that's to the receiving core, so spread out. But you got to think the Rams only basically have one player on their receiving core that gets most of the points.
Yeah.
So
you might hit that one.
So I can see Cooper Kupp having one of his 30-plus point games this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, since our beast of the week first option isn't the same, who was your backup?
My backup was actually Jonathan Taylor versus Washington.
Okay.
He only put up 15.5 last week, but with them having this new quarterback, I think they're going to be relying on him. They're going to be feeding him like a workhorse.
Yeah.
And I think this is the week where we finally he puts up those numbers that we see why people drafted him first overall.
But Kupp is your guy.
Kupp is my guy.
All right. Well, my beast of the week is Buffalo quarterback Josh Allen.
I was close to going with that one.
Yeah, he's playing
Green Bay.
Green Bay. Yeah, sorry. He's playing Green Bay. Josh is going to be a solid, I want to say 30-plus point guy this week.
That's a good one. I almost went with that one.
That's almost every week, though, to be honest, Josh. Putting up 30-something points.
So who was your alternate?
My alternate was Lamar.
For real?
Yeah, against Tampa, who's going to do just as good.
You think so?
Yeah, but next week I'll throw in some actual position players.
I feel like the pace of that Tampa game, I just don't see them putting up 30-plus points.
Yeah, you're right. It could be over.
That's why I'm starting Jalen Hurts over him this week.
Yeah.
But at least I agree with your first one. So we'll see. Between our Beast of the Week this week is going to be between Josh Allen and Cooper Kupp.
You know, it's funny. In your fantasy league, before Sunday happened, I almost told Bobby congratulations on his win because Josh Allen wasn't playing.
Yeah.
But I put in Daniel Jones, and I pulled out the victory against the number one team in the league.
Nice.
Yeah. Bobby, you suck.
All right, so that was our Beast of the Week portion. We hope you liked that. Maybe next week we'll add in his sexy Beast of the Week.
Yeah, sexy beast.
And roll with that.
You got anything else?
No, I think that's all we need to cover for fantasy this week. Hope you like our advice, and good luck in all your leagues.
Yep. All right, guys, that's it for this week's fantasy episode. I'm Raymond.
And I'm Scar. This is the Brew Dude Sportscast.
Until next time.
Keep it brewing.